Watch it go through black.
Either face picture.
Come on. Pulse. Take it to the center. Take it a little pump. Water up. Great red. All right, well, good morning. Morning. Wow.
Somebody else has their iPod out.
Okay. This is a rifle firing. I expect a certain level of enthusiasm before we can get started. Let's try that again. Good morning. That was much better. Thank you very much. My name is Brett, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Fort Mackinac today. Joining me here on the parade ground, we have Niall, Adam, and Jake. We are the 4 soldiers on duty here today. Now, before we step back and fire off the rifles, I'd like to talk for just a moment about the uniforms that we're wearing. Because you probably noticed that I'm dressed a little bit differently than the gentleman behind me. But regardless of that fact, we are all representing men of the 23rd Regiment of United States Infantry that was stationed right here at Fort Mackinac from 1884 until 1890. Every one of those soldiers was issued 2 uniforms. Now, the one that I'm wearing probably looks a little bit more familiar. If I hadn't told you I was from the 1880s, what war do you think I'd be fighting in? The Civil War. Very good. Since that was only 20 years before the 1880s, the Army didn't change a whole lot with the uniform. They thought it was pretty practical and that it worked, so why bother changing it? Now, this is called the undress uniform, and it was our everyday wear, like what you're wearing, jeans and a t-shirt and a baseball cap. It's pretty comfortable as far as uniforms are concerned, and we'd wear it if we were hanging out here in the barracks, if we were out on the rifle range taking target practice, or if we were ever called into combat, we'd put this uniform on. Now, if this is the undress uniform, what do you think they're wearing? The dress uniform, exactly right. And that was more like the tuxedo, the shirt and tie of the 1880s Army. It was safe for special occasions only, like a wedding, a funeral, a dress parade, even payday we'd get dressed up for. We thought that was a pretty special day. Now you'll notice it's a lot more distinct. It's got a lot more shiny brass buttons everywhere. It's got a long frock coat. It's got white facings. It has a paper collar, which I assure you was very comfortable. Then it's topped off with that funny looking spiked helmet on top. That's an idea that we stole from some European countries. Places like Germany and Prussia, which later becomes part of Germany. And even Great Britain had a cool spiky helmet like that. And the reason we had one is because we were not a very good army at the time. Very small. We were very unprofessional. The armies of Europe were the opposite. They were great. They were fantastic. So we figured if you can't be the best, you might as well look like the best. Now, you would never see a soldier charging down the battlefield, head lowered, hoping to impale someone on that spike. You would never, ever wear that into battle. Why would you ever wear a tuxedo to go fight? That seems kind of silly. So, with that, despite the fact that we're wearing different uniforms today, we all have the same rifle. And I'm going to let Adam tell you a little bit more about this.
Thank you, Brett. The rifle that we're going to demonstrate for you folks today is called the Springfield 4570. It was first standard issue to the men of the infantry in 1873. It represented a pretty significant step forward in technology at the time, because prior to this rifle, every standard issue American rifle had been a muzzle loader. This meant that you had to load your powder and your ball and everything down right in the muzzle end, take out a ramrod, and then ram everything down. And even the best soldiers at the time could only fire about 2 to 3 rounds a minute armed with a muzzle-loading rifle. So, with this, it's a breech loader. It's the first standard issue breech loader of the American Army. You simply cock the hammer back 2 times so it's in the safety position, throw open a rising breech block, and then you can take out a very modern-looking brass cartridge. It's 45 caliber bullet powered by 70 grains of black powder, which gives the rifle its designation. Load this down into the breech, close the breech block, cock the hammer back 1 more time, and you're ready to fire. Armed with a rifle like this, a soldier can now fire about 10 to 12 rounds a minute. And clearly that's the rifle you want to have on your side. These rifles are also extremely accurate. They can be accurate up to about 1,000 yards. Just because the rifle can be that accurate doesn't mean that every soldier was. So in the 1880s, the Army for the first time decided to designate some time for the soldiers to go out and practice their marksmanship. They had 2 rifle ranges on Mackinac Island here. They had a 600-yard range just behind the fort. They had a full 1,000-yard range further back on the island. Soldiers who were able to hit that 1,000-yard target better than 75 times out of 100 were designated sharpshooters. This is a good way to motivate your troops to be able to go out and practice, because everybody wants medals, right? Everybody wants some recognition. But on top of being very accurate, very fast to load, these rifles are also extremely loud. So the 4 of us are inserting some historically inaccurate foam earplugs because we enjoy the ability to hear. We'd like to continue to be able to hear well into our old age. We have no evidence whatsoever that the soldiers in the 1880s would have taken any precautions whatsoever to protect their hearing. It'd probably be a good time for you folks